I'm Broschart. The places we come from have always been a compelling inspiration for poets. The place I'm going to read to you about is at the other end of the Appalachian chain up in northeastern Pennsylvania, called the North Branch. Swollen from Ostego's cold spring melt, blending Unadilla and Shenango and the outflow of the Shimon, the North Branch of the Susquehanna pulses its blood waters in a broad wash, spilling down through split mountain cliffs and frothing past slumped foothills, spreading its rich transfusion onto bottomland to heal the earth amid the scars and lesions of civilization's eager uses. Pioneers, settlers, scoundrels, and thieves, they populated this river's valley and its uplands, beating back natives by stealing what they couldn't win with arms and grim tricks, trinkets and booze, siting homesteads and townships within the wilderness. They had little notion of the nation they could become, these leftover gentry from France, mixed-blood Indians, English, Yankees, and Celts, Dutch and Deutsch and Italians, Poles, Slavs, and always more. All that ancestry left them with too many saints to service their prayers. Susquehanna River Town, Indian graveyard, we have our legends just like everyone else, and we have our share of monuments. To the French War, to the British War, to the Mexican and the Civil and the Spanish, to the First and to the Second, to Korea, to Nam and the Balkans and the Gulf, and all the little quarrels in between. Thank God we were far enough from the anthracite, or those still at home would be bleeding still. A Main Street town, a pom-pom marching band high school town, a downtown drugstore hangout town for the kids growing up, the kids hanging on. A Greyhound bus flag stop town, plenty of departures, not many returns. Cash flow, job flow, empty families, ghost storefronts and shuttered houses, holes in the roofs and on the streets. They say you can't go home again. Who would? Fields beyond our house, once endless rows of corn, now grow smokestacks. Gray soot falls on headstones marking my parents' graves. Wet black road at dusk points toward home past empty lots, weeds and rotting snow. Winter wanes but does not thaw this ice around my heart. This next poem is called Father's Day. Often a location becomes important as well because of someone we associate with. My father's grave is underwater off in the corner of Oak Hill Cemetery, fed by a spring no one remarked the day they dug him in. Sheets of drab gray plastic secured our perimeter as ribbon veterans shot the volley and blew the taps and folded the flag for my mother to hold. Today my knees are soaked clear through, wet as my cheeks as I work to clean the moss and rust from his headstone. Fire, not water, was his element. War smoldered on within him, an incendiary round gone astray to flare hot, unpredictable, consuming any of us who got too close. Perhaps this lush, wet field has finally drowned his rage. The solace of water, cleansing, like tide on Pacific beaches, spreads its wash to cover the sands. Finally, a poem about location because of what it can teach us. Patchwork. Late in our marriage, I built a room, piecing it from fitted boards to cover up the walls of a porch beginning to lean. Though slightly slant and often hotter or colder than we'd have liked, it made into a pretty place, surfaced with textured grain and an elegant finish, cozy like a small boat's cabin. It suited our needs in a house grown old, a dwelling where we learned which doors would stick without warning, which windows, increasingly opaque, offered distorted views. I'd become skilled at papering over cracks, restoring the face of surfaces gone wrong, hiding ills beyond repair that lay beneath. My father had shown me how to fix a house. He led by example. As a boy, I carried boards and held down the measuring tape while he sawed and pounded and cursed. His techniques were his own invention, and I learned the heart of his philosophy, that nothing acquired is ever easily let go, that we are well served by patching over, that we must make it up as we go along.
Wow.